Hi everybody, this is Kefren, your favorite French Canadian. Today I'm going to show you how to boost your FPS in League of Legends for the Season 13. A lot of stuff that you can do. We're going to start by optimizing Windows. After that we go inside of the launcher and we're going to close it by the in-game settings.
So now the best setting for Windows for gaming. So first of all, we're going to search for game mode in the search bar. Make sure that game mode is activated for the past year. It's pretty good. You're getting a decent performance and you're going to make sure that all your resources are focused on the game that you're playing. For the Xbox game bar, I still recommend to deactivate this one, causing stuttering, crashing in some games. So I'm not a huge fan of the Xbox game bar. And for the capture, make sure that the background recording is at off and also the recorded audio is at off. Another thing that I recommend, it's the hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. Make sure that you're searching for graphics setting. You will need an NVIDIA card, 1000 series or more recent. It will really help with bottlenecks. So if you have a 1050, 1050 Ti, 1060, even the 2060, you can expect a nice 2 to 5% boost. And also you can expect less stuttering when you're using that. So I really recommend to use that. Another thing that is really important, it's your driver. Make sure that you have the latest driver from AMD, NVIDIA, even Intel if you have an iGPU on your processor. So for an example here with AMD, you just click check for update and it's gonna show you if you have the latest one. You can do the same thing with NVIDIA. Another thing that I can recommend with the NVIDIA and AMD, they have an image scaling for the past a couple of months. From AMD, it's called Super Resolution, and for NVIDIA, it's NIS. I have dedicated video who's gonna show you how to use that and how to configure it. But to explain you quickly what it's about, so you need to enable this. So for example, I'm playing in 2K because my monitor is in 2K. I'm going inside of my game. I lower the resolution at 1080p, and the software will scale it back at 2K. And with this process, I can save 15-20% in my FPS. Also, you can do it if you have a 4K monitor and you want to do 1080p or 2K. You can expect a nice boost. The image quality will not be the same if you compare with native, but in some game it's working very well and it's very tough to see the difference. So I recommend to use it if you're struggling with your FPS. Another thing that I recommend, it's your energy profile. So write energy in your search bar, go to power option. Make sure that you're running something like balance or high performance. On a desktop computer, it should not be an issue, but if you're playing on a laptop, really make sure that you're using that or a special profile for performance from your brand like Asus, Dell, or whatever. The thing is, sometimes when you plug your PC in the wall, unplug, using it with the battery, sometimes it stay at power saver and you don't want to use that when you're playing a game. So super important to be plugged in and also to use a proper performance profile. Another thing that I can recommend, it's the Intelligent Standby List Cleaner. This is a software made by the guy from DDU. It's pretty amazing, honestly. It will help if you don't have a lot of RAM in your PC. So if you have 4 gig of RAM, 8 gig, 12 gig, after that, you should be fine. Windows is doing the job properly. So it will free memory and it's gonna make sure that it optimizes your standby list. So what I recommend normally, it's look at your total memory. Here in my case, it's 32. Just divide it by 2. So for me, it's 16. Just press start and it will run automatically and you just lower the software like that and you're gonna make sure it's optimized. So it's a really good software and also it helps a little bit with stuttering. So I really recommend to use that. One last thing is I have dedicated video on my channel about overclocking CPU, overclocking GPU, depending on your brand and stuff. And it's pretty good because there are basic overclocking guide. I don't touch voltage, so it's pretty safe. You can expect sometimes 2%, 10% boost in your FPS depending on your thermal, depending on your component. But it's something that you need to look at too if you want to optimize your PC for the best performance. So now let's go inside of the game.
One of the most beloved Star Trek franchise is finally arriving in Star Trek Fleet Command. Play alongside huge themes like war, morality, and spirituality in the new in-game missions. This new arc will offer something for everyone with 3 new officers focused on ship survivability, new missions following the fan-favorite narrative of Deep Space Nine and alien star bases. Welcome Deep Space Nine crew Epic Cisco, Rare Kira, and Rare Miles O'Brien, the crew's primary focus will be on ship survivability over damage. 2 officers will be useful in any armada, and 1 will be specialized in specific Deep Space Nine armadas. Alien Starbase are physical embodiment of alien strength which push members to work together for shared progression and mutual benefits as they navigate inter-aliens diplomacy, conflict, and all-out war. It's a new social feature to enhance collaboration. Player winning an alliance will be able to now work together and build a starbase. Download the game now, it's available on Android, iOS, and also now on PC. The link will be in my video description. So now the launcher. We're gonna click on settings. First of all, in general, super important if you are limited with your resources, you're playing on some kind of laptop, you don't have a lot of RAM and a lot of resources on your laptop or PC, make sure that you enable the low spec mode. It will really help with your FPS. Also, I really recommend to close the client during games, super important, so put this one at always. It will save you a little bit of CPU, a little bit of GPU, and a lot of RAM, so super important to do that. If you feel also that your launcher is kind of laggy, you can lower the resolution of it, so you can go with 720p or even something lower if you want. For the notification, I really recommend to disable eSport notification. It will help with the fluidity of your launcher. After that, in interface, I recommend to deactivate the enable HUD animation. It will help a little bit again with fluidity. And for the game, you have another option that you can call an old API from League of Legends, the DirectX 9. I don't recommend to using it if you have like, I don't know, a card that got launched 4 or even 5 years ago. It's more like if you're playing on a very old PC and when it was when your video card was on the market, DirectX 9 was very popular. It can perform better with DirectX 9 if your video card is very old, like something 8-10 years ago. So super important, do some testing, click on it, click done, open the game, launch a game, look at your FPS and maybe compare it with the current DirectX. So it's a question of like your GPU and the way that they did the driver to make sure that the compatibility is a little bit better. But honestly, if your video card is very, very old, normally you should run it on DirectX 9. So now let's go inside of the game. For resolution, I really recommend to go with native over there. Don't lower it under your native resolution. You will see that your game will look very blurry. But for window mode, I really recommend to go with full screen. I don't recommend window or borderless, causing some weird stuttering sometimes. So super important to go with full screen. Enable shake screen, I recommend to go uncheck. You don't want to use that. It feels a little bit laggy also when you're using that. After that, character quality, not a huge difference between very low and medium. Honestly, it's like 1% for each bracket, so you can definitely go with medium, except if you're playing on a very old laptop with an integrated GPU, go with very low. Environment quality, not a huge deal if you compare very low and low, so you can definitely go with low. But after that, like with medium, you're gonna lose 2%, and it's 3% for each bracket after that for high and very high. So low seems to be a good spot. For shadow quality, this one, super important. This is the most, the parameter that will provide you the most of FPS. If I compare very high to off, you can expect 15% boost. So this one definitely just remove all the shadow inside of the game. For the effect, go with very low. Not a huge impact when you're just like dealing with your character, but when you're fighting, you're sending some spell, it will like optimize your FPS. Honestly, you will not lose anything, no drops and stuff like that. When you start to go higher than medium, you will see sometimes you're getting some 20-25% drop. So I really recommend to go with very low with this parameter. For the frame rate, I play uncapped. I don't recommend to go too crazy with this. So if, for an example, if you have a laptop with a 60 Hz screen and you have pretty bad thermal, don't go on cap or like 120, just lock it at 60. It will be a little bit better because sometimes when you have too much heat in your computer, you will start to throttling your CPU, your GPU because they are too hot. So super important to lock it. If you don't have thermal issue, you can definitely put some higher FPS and lower your input lag. Anti-aliasing, I recommend to uncheck it. You can like expect 3 to 4% boost in your FPS if you uncheck it. And not a huge deal. The aliasing in this game is not bad, so honestly just uncheck it. And the last one is vertical sync. Don't use it if you want to lower your input lag. If you don't mind and you don't like tearing when you're playing the game, you can definitely check it, but you will have more input lag in your game. You can also use technology like G-Sync or FreeSync if it's available with your monitor to counter the issue with the vertical sync. So this is pretty much it, guys, for my League of Legends Season 13 boost guide. If you have any question, just comment in the YouTube section. Post me your rig, CPU, GPU, and RAM. I will try to help you the best that I can. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Peace.